This is exactly how the American people expect and want the Epstein files released. As of course, get them out there to the general public faster than you possibly can. And now everyone's asking the question, will we even see them? As so many questions are arising here, now even surrounding the JFK tapes. As where's that information? As of course, it was declassified a very long time ago. And of course, we should have got disclosures. Where are they? Well, we got an insight from a member of Congress specifically describing what I've been saying for a few days now, and that is the fact that there's an ongoing criminal cover-up here that has probably already deleted and destroyed the real Epstein list and the evidence associated with it, as that's probably the case here. And you know, let's be real here. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's talk about this story in a deeper level, because there's a lot of connections here with a lot of the attorney generals involved in this, not just the current one. There's also a lot of history. There's also a lot of foreign policy. There's also a lot of other things happening that are very strange and very weird that could connect the dots to this ever so wild and insane story. But I have some of my sources within the Trump White House, and a lot of them are very disappointed with the way that all of this is kind of unfolding. As now, a lot of people expect the same kind of shenanigans with the JFK files, which, you know, a lot of people haven't been really asking for and demanding for as much as they have with Epstein, since of course, Epstein is a more kind of current issue, since there are people that flew on Epstein's planes, went to his island, partook in some of the very debaucherous, horrible, evil behavior with small children that are still in positions of power, that are still Hollywood actors and actresses that are worshipped, that are still in the financial banking system, that are still twinkering and messing around and being a part of the big social media apparatuses that ever so control our lives. Those individuals that have hurt children in so many unspeakable ways are still out there hurting more children, and the American people want justice. But as we were told specifically by Congressman Tim Burett, who was on the Benny Johnson show, that the likelihood of us getting justice here is going to be very rare, as he now believes the cover-up is now officially begun, and we will not be getting any answers here.
What the hell's going on with this list, man?
Like, Epstein.
Like what's going? You know, I had to ask.
I'm glad you did.
It's probably the only guy I'm going to ask because I love you.
Well, and I think.
But like, what's going on there?
I was on with Geraldo last night, and he says he doesn't think it exists. I don't think it exists anymore. I think they've doctored it, and I don't think we shouldn't trust what comes out. I just think it's they've delayed it, and there was no. And she was way over her skis when she said that it's sitting on my desk.
Yeah, and this is the Attorney General of the United States that was bragging about the list, and then came out and said, actually, we don't have anything, and we're just going to release the old list, and we're going to redact more than was even previously redacted. But hey, some social media influencers get a binder here, so yay, there's that. That was phase one, okay? So clearly, there's a lot to make up for in phase two, but I would worry, and as I've specifically said, after seeing that first debacle, I came to the conclusion that nothing's going to really happen here, because the FBI had far too long of time to muddy the waters, to put out false information, to destroy the actual legitimate information, as there's now stories going around saying, oh, when they were raiding Epstein's homes, one of the few homes that they actually decided to raid, since they didn't go after all of them, one of the few, they just left the safe open, and then all those tapes and hard drives and photos just went missing somehow, and we don't know who got them. That's the official story of events that we're going to be hearing about very soon, as I think what happened recently with this truckload of documents that the Attorney General described the FBI delivering to her is that they're kind of filibustering here. They're sending her a crap ton of nothing that she's going to have to look through. It's going to take a long time for her to look through everything, and then the American people are left here kind of with their hands in their pockets, just kind of waiting around like, hey, you know, it would have been nice to have a government that's not connected with child traffickers, but sadly, that's not something that we're going to be having here, as of course Tim goes on.
Now, why the heck would she say that? Why would she say that? I mean, she's big dogging it, and it blew up in her face. That was a stupid move.
So apparently a big dump truck full of evidence came into the DOJ after some key firings in the FBI. Do you believe that?
Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay.
It's just like the Kennedy files and the UFO files and RFK and JFK.
And that's a little bit more of a healthy approach here. Yeah, I'll believe it when I'll see it. And I think that's the vast majority of the American people right now, as I would argue that Pam Bondi has a reputation to save. Some people would argue that she has a career to save right now, as a lot of people are highly critical of her. And I think there's room for us to be critical here. But is there room for us to be completely optimistic and hopeful and super excited about the list coming up? Probably not going to get it. Let's just be real with ourselves. And my kind of train of thinking was, oh man, they're announcing it. They're actually going to be releasing this thing. They actually say they have it. Trump's lawyer, Ms. Abedin, actually came out and said there's going to be arrests here. Yeah. They kind of blew this thing out of proportion. I saw the talking points. I thought, and this was my train of thinking, they had somebody on the inside. They had a whistleblower come forward, give them the hard drives. They had the video footage. They had the photos. They had the clients. They had everything independently of themselves. And then when I found out that the way that they're getting this list is just by a letter, is just by a request, that's it? That's all you're doing? Are you freaking kidding me? You're expecting the criminals to turn themselves in? That's not what's going to happen here, as the FBI was intricately involved here ever since 1996, when they were ignoring victims here. Before playing the full comment from Congressman Burett, we wanted to remind people, check out wearechange.shop. We got some of the best products online. It took us a couple months to develop our microplastic-free tea that you could get exclusively on wearechange.shop. We did this in partnership with The Quartering. Lots of people like tea. I like tea, but so much of the tea out there is filled with so much bull crap, so much poison, so much nonsense that it took us quite a while because I had huge iris problems. And Jeremy's like, look, I'll help you. We'll develop a product together, share everything 50-50. And I'm like, that sounds great. Let's do it. And he's like, okay, we could do it, the quick, cheap way and save a bunch of money and then get it out there really fast. Or we could do it the hard way and really try to figure out a product that allows people to have tea without having any microplastics. I was like, look, we're going to do it the hard way, even though I'm very hard on cash. And I want to make sure I release a quality product. I have the product here. It's one of the best products. I love the product, and it costs $25, and you get a crap ton of beverage servings with this little bag here that, of course, has our Sip Happens mascot on there. That is a very happy set of male reproductive organs that is free of microplastics and is revving and roaring with full testosterone and none of the microplastics and seed oils and other bullcrap associated with most of our beverages and food that we are consuming that is slowly poisoning us and a part of the larger soft kill eugenics weapons out there that are meant to shrivel up your testicular fortitude, your manhood, your testosterone. We fight back on wearechange.shop. Go check it out. Go get yourself some tea and support this independent media network at the same time. Let's go on and finish off these statements from the Benny Johnson show here that I think are really imperative. As a lot of people are saying, you know what, where are those JFK files here? Because it's been a while since we've gotten anything.
Yeah, it's just it's been too long, and all of a sudden, we're going to look at President Trump starts raising Cain about John F. Kennedy, and all of a sudden they find 14,000 new files just out of the blue. I mean, it's like, what is this Raiders of the Lost Ark, warehouse that they got this stuff in? I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's a cover up. The sewer is groaning right now because of Donald J. Trump. I just pray he stays healthy.
Yep, and let's be honest here. The likely scenario here is that they just release some fake documents, or they filibuster and send so much nonsense out there. As of course, we just got an update for Congressman Anna Paulina Luna that looks like she was at odds with the Attorney General of the United States, as it looked like there was a little spat between the two. There's a little bit of tension between the two, as she just announced that all declassified JFK documents will be housed at the link below as soon as release begins. You will be able to access them on the website. Please bookmark it and try USA Nat Archives for working quickly to get this up. GOP oversight and another member of Congress will be working with DNI Gabbard in the morning to discuss timeline of the document release. Radical transparency is what the American people mandated, and it's what they will be getting. As, of course, she also did a press release about this, and I will be, of course, keeping an eye out on these documents. As, of course, I had a very long, extensive conversation with Roger Stone today that has been working behind the scenes and releasing a lot of the top-notch, most important stuff surrounding the JFK assassination that clearly points to the government doing it. And will those documents that are released confirm what he's been documenting and talking about for such a long time? I really do hope so. But with the way that Phase 1 worked, again, all optimism is out the door. Skepticism is at an all-time high, as we just also found out that Congressman Tim Burett just had an interesting meeting with Elon Musk and the DOJ committee, as they said that they had some valuable time together, as Elon Musk has been one of the biggest proponents of releasing the Epstein list and declassifying a lot of these documents. A lot of the documents that Pam Bondi has said is going to now be redacted for national security. What kind of national security are we talking about here, as other people are connecting the dots in their own ways here, saying the national security information being redacted is that these are the people on the Epstein client list. And yeah, that absolutely does make sense here, because if we don't get the full Epstein client list, it does suggest that the list contains information that would currently disrupt the current power in its present form, which means there are people within this government that are connected and have extortion and compromise on them that this government wants to keep secret. That's the logical conclusion that a lot of people are coming to, especially with this kind of botched release, especially with the American people still not getting any answers. And guess what? The skepticism, the frustrations, the questions, the mistrust is all going to rise if we don't get any legitimate form of justice here. As again, we have a truckload of documents here. What will be the ramifications of this? And again, I agree with Congressman Burett. I believe already they have just destroyed and deleted everything. As soon as Donald Trump won, even before then, it's not like these people would actively keep compromise on themselves. Okay. They had compromise on everyone else, but those were probably in the private hands of some of those contractors that the FBI worked with some of those private organizations that the FBI worked with. As, of course, Laura Loomer has also been on a tear. She recently was blocked by Pam Bondi as she describes how Trump's former Attorney General, Bill Barr, played an active role in the cover-up of the Epstein saga when he was imprisoned and then mysteriously lost his life under very strange circumstances, as she describes how Bill Barr's father, Donald Barr, was the person that gave Jeffrey Epstein his start out of nowhere, allowing him to teach at his private school, highlighting how there were larger, very strange, weird connections between the two that played a role in Bill Barr covering up the exact events and investigations into what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. As Pam Bondi also in 2018 wrote an op-ed in the Orlando Sentinel titled "Bill Barr Will Help President Trump Fulfill the American First Agenda as Attorney General." Well, all he did was cover up the story of the decade and make sure that none of us got any kind of legitimate answers for it, while also working with the DOJ and the FBI that were trying to entrap and ensnare Donald Trump in this entire saga, as we have Jeffrey Epstein's cellmate coming out and saying, yeah, when I was with Epstein, the feds came to him and they said, give us Trump and we will give you a slap on the wrist. They were trying to get Epstein to flip on Trump. Trump's own FBI and DOJ under Bill Barr were trying to get him to flip. Bill Barr covered this up clearly, clear as day. And now Laura Loomer is bringing up how Pam Bondi was a Bill Barr fan and a supporter, to the point where she was publicly penning huge support of him, when in reality this was a guy that was deeply connected to the swamp here. Now, as many questions still remain around Pam Bondi, there's still some larger questions about where in the world are we going with all of this? When will we have the documents? Why isn't there a timeline? How in the world are we living in a place where a lot of people are questioning the larger relationships we have with foreign governments that it looks like we keep acting on the behest of? As, of course, we have a lot of people now propelling and trying to push us for a larger war with Iran. Will these people be successful? Will they get it? As Donald Trump just issued a very strong worded letter against Hamas, as he has larger plans for Gaza that would make it essentially a territory that the United States would own and control, as Arab leaders have now approved a $53 billion alternative plan to Trump's Gaza plan. Here, as I'm kind of sitting here asking myself, why do we have to be involved in all of this? And could it be because of a potential connection to Epstein? Well, that's what a lot of people are connecting the dots on and asking those serious questions about. Now, do I pretend to know exactly what's going on here? I do not. I think a lot of us are just kind of bewildered. A lot of us don't have any answers here. And until we do, I am reserving any kind of optimism. I have a lot of skepticism, and I will believe it when I see it. I hope and I pray that the people that are going to actually release this list, that they remain safe. I hope and pray that their lives are going to be protected, because this is an extremely dangerous job that involves multiple governments, multiple intel agencies. And the fact now that we're redacting for national security, the fact now that we don't have a timeline, that we have a truckload of documents, that we have this larger request for criminal elements to expose their own criminality, that just doesn't happen, okay? I really legitimately thought they got something. They got something outside of it. All they had was a letter asking the bad people to turn themselves in, and that's not going to produce any kind of larger results here. What's really going on here? Time will tell. I hope I am wrong in my skepticism. I pray for all of those working in the positions of power to do the right thing, to release that list, to get some justice here, and most importantly, stop the larger predators in our society right now from hurting more children. That's what's at stake here. If you agree, share this video. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.